Hello, guys. Welcome to Nascent Tutelage. This is the home of comprehensive lessons. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that. Just hit on the subscribe button, like our videos, and share them with others so that they can also learn. In today's lesson, we are going to unpack the four major theories of corporate social responsibility, often shortened as CSR. And theories we know is an ideology or framework that explains how something is done. So there are four major theories that explains the act of corporate social responsibility. And in today's video, I'll be breaking the four theories down for you. And I believe that by the end of the video, we would have the core understanding behind each of these theories, which we are going to be talking about. So there are four of these theories. These four theories were propounded by Garriga and Mel 2004, and they are instrumental, integrative, political, and ethical theories. And each of these theories explains why and how businesses engage in corporate social responsibility. More often than not, the CSR we see is in the form of charity. Okay, but basically, firms engage in CSR looking at the perspective of any of these four theories. So let's now look at the instrumental theories, which is the first one. And this theory is saying that CSR is a means to an end. So you are using CSR as a way to increase the profit of your shareholders. So this theory has its foundation grounded in Milton Friedman's idea that the only social responsibility of a firm or a business or organization is to maximize the profit or value of their shareholders. So this theory is saying that CSR is only useful if it contributes to economic gains of those who invest in the business. So MTN Ghana will not just wake up and say that we are embarking on this CSR initiative. Using the instrumental theories approach, it will consider the benefit that the CSR initiative would have on their economic success. Okay, so another aspect of this theory is that CSR is strategic. It is not just a charity work that firms engage in, but rather it's a strategic means to the end, which is profit and value maximization. So that's what we mean by CSR being the means to an end. We are using corporate social responsibility as a means or a way to the end goal, which is profit and competitive advantage. So let's now break down the instrumental approaches or the instrumental theory into practical types and examples. So I will quickly run through each of them and give you examples so you can see how the theory meets practice. So the first one is maximizing stakeholder value. So with this aspect of the instrumental theory, CSR initiative is pursued because it increases the confidence of the investors and also the valuation of the company. So for instance, when Apple invests in renewable energy for their data centers, even though they are contributing to sustainable development, which aligns with the SDGs, their intent or the end goal is that this CSR initiative is going to benefit the company in the sense that it would improve their reputation and also enhance their customer loyalty, which would ultimately support their long-term profits. Okay, so that's one aspect of the instrumental theories, maximizing stakeholder value, engaging in initiatives that would increase the value of the stakeholders. So the second one, or the second aspect of the instrumental theory, is the competitive advantage strategy. And this approach is of the view that firms adopt CSR initiatives as a way of building unique advantages. So most businesses or organizations intentionally embed CSR initiatives into their operations just to differentiate or position themselves as being environmentally friendly or sustainable. So Unilever has this initiative called Unilever Sustainable Living Plan. And with this CSR initiative, they intentionally align their products with sustainability. So when you take some products of Unilever like the Pepsodent, the emphasis is that they use natural ingredients and that their products are recyclable and all these items. So they are not just doing charity, or they are not just trying to be responsible, but rather they are positioning themselves from other brands that offer toothpaste and products that they are environmentally friendly. And the ultimate is that they are going to still maximize profit. So this is another aspect of the instrumental, that even though businesses are engaging in CSR initiatives, they are trying to use that as a means to gain competitive advantage over their competitors, or to gain a larger share of the market or industry that they are operating in. The last one is the course related marketing, CRM, where businesses link sales to social causes in order to boost purchases. So, for instance, Away Ghana has this initiative, One for Life, which is a CSR initiative where they illustrate how their brand gives to support um, victims or patients with cardiovascular diseases. So, Away can decide that they will donate an amount of money to the center to support people with these underlying heart conditions. But rather, they've tied this initiative to marketing. So they are telling you that buy our product so that we'll be able to take a portion of your money to support these people. Instead of saying that we went to donate 500,000 Ghana cedis to support this cause. So they've actually linked the CSR initiative to marketing, where they are marketing their products. In return, they are supporting CSR initiatives. So these are three types of instrumental theories, and we can see that even though these three aspects have different focus, they have been streamlined to the end goal that you want to maximize the profit, the valuation, and the worth of the stakeholders, of the shareholders, sorry, and the company. So maximizing stakeholder value, competitive advantage, and cost related marketing are all having one goal, which is to increase profit. Now let's move to the political theories. And this theory is of the view that businesses have power in society and they must therefore use this power responsibly. So, by virtue of just existing as a business, you have been endowed with some power, and if you don't use this power, responsibly, you are going to risk losing legitimacy and public trust. And there are two notable views here, which are the corporate constitutionalism and corporate citizenship. So, corporate constitutionalism argues that organizations must use their power in a responsible manner. Otherwise, they are going to have the society responding with constraints and regulations. A very good example is the not too long ago developments around DSTV and their pricing, where the minister for communication was not too happy with the pricing that DSTV was offering in Ghana compared to other jurisdictions like Nigeria. And we could see that due to the power that DSTV had to adjust their prices, they also had the responsibility of using their power in a responsible way, or else they will lose it. And we all know the end of that story, where they had to compromise and reduce price because they were facing strict regulation, where if um, they didn't conform to the outline of the communication minister, they were going to be moved from the country and have their operation license withdrew and all that. So that's a typical example of the corporate constitutionalism. Then we have the corporate citizenship, which says that organizations act as citizens. And we know the responsibilities of a citizen. When we say you're a citizen of a country, it comes with diverse responsibilities, one of which is paying taxes, reporting criminals, and all that. So, this aspect is saying that businesses or organizations are the citizens of the society. So, they need to take up these duties, especially when government fails to meet social needs. Okay, so an example is during the COVID-19 pandemic, telcos like MTN and Vodafone stepped in to provide, free and subsidized data for students to access educational websites. Okay, so this is a good example of corporate citizenship at play, where the telcos were able to fill in gaps in education when the state could not do same because the state had to prioritize other areas due to limited funding. So this is what the political theory is saying, that businesses have power in society. They need to use this power wisely. And there are two key perspectives. Corporate constitutionalism, which says that if you don't use the power that has been given to you well, the society is going to retaliate with regulations and constraints, as seen in the case of DSTV. Then we have corporate citizenship, where businesses need to act as citizens of the society. So let's now move on to the third theory, which is the integrative theories. So this theory has its proponent, or its assumption is that businesses depend on society for survival. Okay. So for a business to exist, grow, and also continue to operate, it all stems down to the legitimacy that has been granted to it by society. And therefore, businesses must ensure that they integrate the social values of society into their operations. This is typical in the cases of multinational organizations. If you are a business that operates in different jurisdictions, you have to be aware that the regulations in different countries are not always the same. So you need to adjust your strategy to align with the demands of society. And the key components of this theory is issues management. So you need to be able to manage issues that arise within the company, and also how these issues affect the society in which you're operating in. If you are not able to respond to issues and manage them properly, you are going to face even desolation. We also have public accountability. You need to be accountable to the society, your operations. You need to be able to give an account to society. We also have stakeholder management. You need to be able as a business to recognize and manage relationship between all your stakeholders, internal and external stakeholders. You need to be able to manage relationship between all of them if you want to continue to grow. And then we also have corporate social performance. You need to measure how you are meeting the social expectations. Now, an example of the integrative theory is Newmont's Gold Ghana. And before I even proceed with this example, I want to emphasize that for the CSR exams, they always, most of the time, bring major Ghanaian companies as case studies. So you need to be abridged with the CSR initiative of companies like Procos Ghana, Newmont Ghana, MTN Ghana. Make sure that you read in detail their CSR initiatives and how this can be aligned with the various CSR principles, theories, and all that. So that's just by the way. Continue with the example with Newmont Ghana and integrative theories. You know, Newmont Ghana is a mining firm. So what they do is that they often engage chiefs and community members in order to reduce conflict. So they invest a lot in social programs, compensations, frameworks, and local hiring, all with the view or with the end goal of stakeholder management. So that's what the integrative theory is about. That businesses need to adjust or align their strategies and initiatives to meet the demands of society because they exist because of the power or legitimacy granted to them by the society. So let's move on to the fourth and final theory, which is the ethical theories. And this theory is grounded in moral values. So the theory is saying that companies have an obligation to consider the impact of their actions on the people and also the planet. So regardless of what the business is doing, whether they are making profit or not, they need to ensure that what they are doing is right, fair, and just. Okay. And the prominent approaches to this theory is the normative stakeholder theory, which says that the managers of businesses have a fiduciary duty, that is a steward duty, to consider the interests of not just their shareholders, but all those who are what they are affected by the operations of the business. So if you are a mining company, don't just consider the interests of your shareholders, those who are investing their money into the business. The ethical theory is saying that consider the interests of your stakeholders and shareholders all in hand. We also have the human rights and sustainability, which is another approach to this theory, which says that companies have to respect human rights. So they should make sure that the rights of the employees and the rights of all those involved in the business, whether internal or external, their rights are protected, even if it is going to affect their profit margins. Then we have the common good approach. which says that businesses should make sure that they contribute actively to the social welfare and common good of society. So an example of the ethical theory is the fair trade cocoa in Ghana. So fair trade certification is an initiative that seeks to ensure that farmers get fair prices and conditions. This is not only about branding; it's about correcting in equitable market relations and supporting sustainable livelihoods. Because we know that most cocoa farmers in Ghana are not getting the value or the run for their money as compared to other places like Ivory Coast and other nations that engage in cocoa production. So Fair Trade Cocoa Ghana tries to make sure that farmers get a fair share of what they actually work for and that the government is not taking advantage of them. So that's an ethical approach and it very much aligns with the ethical theories. So that's just about it for the four major theories. To conclude, we need to understand that corporate social responsibility is not just merely charity, okay? It is something that is multifaceted and just like we've discussed, instrumental theories focuses on using corporate social responsibility for profit, whereas the political theories see CSR as a responsible use of corporate power, where we had the corporate constitutionalism and corporate citizenship. The integrative theories counts to say that CSR is seen as a partnership with society. So a business is existing because of society. So they need to partner with the society if they want to continue to exist and grow. Then the ethical theory is saying that CSR is a moral obligation. As long as you are a business, you need to make it your priority to consider ethical implications of your actions. So, thank you very much for watching this episode of CSR Theories on Nascent Tutelage. If you indeed found this video very useful, please like, share, and subscribe to Nascent Tutelage. Your support is very crucial for us as it will motivate us to continue to produce more clear, practical, and comprehensive lessons just like this one. And if you would like downloadable content on this video where you can revise for exams and also use to assess yourself as class notes, please comment below on the post and I would make sure to share a link. Thank you once again, and I will see you in the next episode.